Hi, Sarah. Hello, everyone. I'm super excited about this interview. And I just have to say, we were just talking about some stuff that I'm like, wait, we have to stop. This has to be part of the interview because it's so good. But this is my good friend, Sara Elise. Sarah, how are you today?
I'm amazing today. Thank you, Polly.
Awesome. Okay, so as always, we will wrap this up just so you know what the greatest what you believe the greatest message is to the world, to the people. But I almost think that what we were talking about is the greatest message, right?
It is.
So just history. Sarah and I, so Sarah is like this amazing astrologist, and I mean very well known. I mean, yeah, you're internationally known, like you work with people all over the world. And we taught a class. It was 3 months. Actually, we did kind of two. We did a short one and then we did a 3 month one of moon school, where Sarah focused on the phases of the moon and I focused on teaching the intuitive aspects. And I think it's really interesting because the way I mean, I always say I'm lazy, essentially lazy. The way I work, I just allow things to come and I don't follow anything. And Sarah is this brilliant astrologist that can look at somebody's chart and can predict, I don't know if predict's the right word, but see potential like areas of strength, potential areas that they might want to work on. And it's really amazing, right? But but part of me is like, I always felt like, but do we need to complicate things? Why can't we just be, yeah. Okay, so you've had a little bit of a shift. I mean, I know you're still this amazing astrologist, right? Without doubt. Like you are, you're amazing. So now share with us your take on everything. And well, I guess start with the type of astrology you do. So because yours is a little bit different.
Yeah, my astrology is a little bit different. So, every astrologer will be a little bit different depending on their frequency, but depending on what their soul sees and what they're called to. So the stuff that I do with people, I call it soul midwifery. I'm a soul midwife. So what I can do through the chart, how I work with the chart, I see someone's incarnational intention, sort of what they've come in with and the karma they've arrived with and what their evolutionary path looks like from the soul's perspective. So what their deepest lessons are, what they're moving toward, what their purpose is, but very deep, complex sort of energetic level stuff, right? Like really, like if you, at some level, we're 100% whole, there is nothing missing, we are perfect, 100%, right? But then we all have this unique blueprint, which is our self. So astrology is very helpful at identifying the self that you are as you incarnate into the lifetime. And, because undeniably each one of us is unique. We are all snowflakes within this universe, right? But yet at the same time, we are all one with it. So we're all whole within it. We're all the same thing. We're all just source talking to itself in a million, billion, trillion different ways. And so the astrology, as I practice it, and as any astrologer would practice it, is making an attempt to overlay some kind of a blueprint or a map on top of the unique you that you are, to offer you a little bit of reflection and guidance as to how you can accentuate the best, overcome the shadow, identify, accept, open. My tagline is free yourself to be yourself, because it really is actually as simple as that. Like to be free to be who you are without impediment, right? We all know who we've come here to be. And generally speaking, the only thing holding us back is ourselves.
Okay, so I mean, would you say that most of your clients are people that are still figuring out how to make life a little more comfortable?
I would say the vast majority of the people who find me are people who are waking up or are awakened, but not at a state where they are 100% confident
Okay.
in
Yeah.
that. Okay. So there's like this place where, and in fact, I may just be, narrowing it because I get people of like a vastly, um, in a very wide presentation of like everybody is different and unique, and every single person will be a different vibration. And my job is to match and track the vibration of the unique individual, and then to honor and serve their highest good. That's my function, by reflecting them back to themselves in a way that allows them to fall in love with themselves. But the type of person that I tend to attract because of how I read, I get people who are dealing with real evolutionary issues, like people who feel stuck, or people who have something that keeps repeating and that they don't really know how to overcome, or someone who feels that something is changing and they're not quite sure how to relate to that, so that they need a little bit of guidance or reflection. So there people come to an astrologer like me when something is a little bit off, or when they just need a little bit of a push, or when they have some questions or require reflection from a higher place, so that they can unstick themselves from their identification with the lower self and just liberate a little bit and stand up. Right? That's kind of the impact. I find that people, after they sit with me for an hour and a half, they feel like they can breathe. Their heart is open. They feel happy and comfortable. The word relieved is what one of my clients this morning said. I feel relieved, she said. Right? There's this acknowledgement.
So
There's
like
just open.
relieved because you answered this question that she had been asking herself for years. Is that like how this comes about?
Relief that she is okay, that she's allowed to be who she is, that it's real, that her deepest dreams are true, that everything she feels in her heart that she wants more than anything is actually in her design. Right? We don't get seen for who we are. No one looks at us and says, "Oh my God, Polly, you're this," and don't you remember that this is?
But see,
Like,
that's the piece that
like,
I think is so interesting, because I think we do get seen. I think we do get seen, right? I think as soon as we recognize ourselves, we do get seen, because as soon as we recognize ourselves, other people, we move through life differently, and people recognize we're recognized, right?
that's true. It's true.
And so
You're
I
right.
think, I guess this is the thing, is like we've talked about this, there's so many different tools out there. There's so many, different types of readers. There's Akashic reading, there's, whatever it is that I do, there's, astrology. There's so many different things. But do you believe, do you think, I mean, so it's just a tool, right? So the right people are going to come to us,
Yeah,
right? But do you believe that we're all kind of tapping into the same energy, like when we help people?
of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so now let's dive into um
Well, Polly, like just think for a second. When you and I did Moon School and we were doing our intakes, like so in
yeah,
Moon School, it was a 3-month program, and the first month, everyone got a one-on-one with both Polly and I in the same room together. And I looked at their chart and Polly did an intuitive reading. Without fail, every single time we sat down with someone, you and I said the same stuff. But I was getting it from the chart and you were getting it from your intuition.
yeah,
We
it's
were all
crazy.
tapping into the exact same thing.
It's
There is no difference. You
Yeah,
tap, my lens is through the language of astrology.
yeah,
It's just as accurate as your lens
yeah.
in through
It
intuition.
is crazy. I mean,
It was
it
crazy.
it's
Okay.
crazy. And I think what really came to what really, and I've always thought this, but really became apparent, is that, there's it's we attract the people that will understand the way you share the language, and you attract the people that are vice, what I'm saying, right? And I
I know,
think that
100%. It's a
it,
vibrational match. Like I
it
never
is a
worry.
vibrational
I
match.
don't even worry about clients coming ever. Like I never
Yes,
worry. They just come, and the ones
yes,
who come are supposed to come, right? Like and
yes,
it's just, I just have faith and I just trust and I just keep in alignment. That's it, right?
yes,
And that's it. It's when you're in a flow of service, that's how it goes, as
yes.
long as you're in integrity.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
What I think is so interesting. Do you think your clients are going to start changing now? You've just had a major shift. So now I'm like, oh, who's gonna be knocking on Sarah's door now? I think it'll start to change.
Well, I've already noticed that actually.
Yeah.
I've already noticed the types of people who are coming, and
Yes.
that's, that's understandable, isn't it?
It's very cool.
Yeah, because we beat match with people, and when we're looking, Alan Oken, one of my teachers, I've mentioned him before. I've studied with him for years and years, and one of the things he always said to me is that we are all on the conveyor belt of consciousness,
Mhm.
and a conveyor belt, it goes in one direction. It's all going back to God, right?
Yes.
We're all
I
going
like
into the
that.
light. But every one of us is at our own place on that conveyor
Yes.
belt. Like we can't be 14 steps ahead,
Yes.
but we have all of this experience about where we've been. So each one of us, based on where we are right now, can turn around and help all the people behind
Yes.
us. But we need to go and find someone who's ahead of us to help us
Or
on our way.
not.
Or
I mean,
not, or we just stay where we're at. We just keep
well,
moving.
and then not even that. Like, I believe that, I mean, I believe transformation or awareness, whatever you want to call it, can happen like that. I believe that our something inside of us just opens up, and all of a sudden we are able to connect to different vibrational energy. And again, like, it's not this step-by-step process. Who knows why it happens? Maybe it's because, it was just, who knows. I think it's a miracle. It's always a miracle, but it can just unfold in ways that we could never prepare for.
No, and it can come at any moment, at any time, in any situation. I had a
Yeah.
woman, a client of mine, about a week and a half ago, who had a massive awakening in our session.
Yeah.
And it was like a light bulb went on. She hit this higher level. She was able to see things from this different place. She started sobbing, right? It was
Yes.
like it was a real awakening because she was ready. And
Yes.
so I mean, you just keep following your guidance, right? If you
Yeah.
feel
You're
a
internal.
resonance with,
Yes.
working with this person or working with that person, it's, you just listen and you keep going on your path. Like we're all here to help each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think, okay, so let's talk back about, so the moon school, we talked about manifesting with the phases of the moon.
Yeah.
And
Do you want me to talk a little bit about what it's all about what the moon cycles are, or
no,
no, not
because
right
we're going to
now?
talk more important stuff. So we're going to talk about, like, really people did manifest, and it was a community also. But so what you told me before we started recording was that you were like, that something had changed. Like, so then you're like, well, what's this moon school about? Like, something's shifted a little bit. And so instead of doing the step-by-step process, like, what has shifted for you, or what awareness, or how are you looking at it possibly different?
Well, one of the things that I've had as my intention for a really long time has been exploring will. This is in my birth chart, by the way.
Yeah.
This is all like laid out in my own design. Will force and alignment of will is an extremely important exploration for me, and I've been learning very specific lessons around where to put my will, my intent,
Mm-hmm.
right? At a lower level, my will goes in all sorts of directions based on what I want, based on my desire, right? And it extends outward and tries to hold on to specific things. And generally speaking, will at that level feels hungry,
Mm-hmm.
right? It feels like it might be coming out of something that is hungry or empty or needy. And so that there's this long process of wanting something, getting something, wanting something, getting something, wanting another thing, getting something, right? It's very repetitive, and it does feel almost a little primal. Like I think we all have that instinct. We all know what that means, right? We all have that urge. And for a while now, I'd say probably since about the summer of 20, 19, this was when this started coming in. And then now I'm just like anchoring into it. Right. And I'm just anchoring. 2020 was pretty transformational for me, but just recently I've been coming into the magnetization of this, is being able to link my will into a higher place. And basically all the will wants is to have what is in alignment with higher good. So when will is pulled up and into the heart, and there's this space in the heart that just knows that it just wants what is in the highest good. And it's like almost like living in a constant state of prayer and gratitude. And like inside your heart, there's like this little ball of golden love and gratitude that just wills this highest good, right? That this what is in the highest good. And as you walk through life like that, I mean, there's it. I guess I'm kind of tapping into it in a pretty significant way right now. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it feels to me like there's more, like what I'm curious about now, what I'm wanting to work in this next lunar cycle, in the next moon school, is understanding, like if our will is anchored into highest good, and that is like a living prayer, where does personal desire live inside that? What do we do with our desire nature? What do we do with our desire at all? How do we enter a state of co-creation with the reality, or do we need to? Do we need to just let go completely and just walk through life from this prayer?
Right.
But we still exist. We still have
shift, because that's one of the things, is that as people become, if we want to use the word, more aware, or they have the, they're living in higher vibrational energy, the things that they used to, like, all of a sudden maybe some addiction they had is gone. So some of these things that they had in their life every day, it's just no longer it's not part of them anymore, right? So it's not even a conscious, the beauty of it is you don't have to consciously make those decisions, because you no longer attract it, you no longer desire it, right? So it's just, again, life becomes a little bit easier.
That's true. I mean, to unplug from the lower self in a sense and plug up. If we're plugging up into the heart and into the higher mind, then of course everything that is of the desire nature sort of falls into a sense, maybe into a state of balance and harmony. But it's not an easy road. Like, I know you think it's an easy road. You think it can be an instantaneous thing, and I agree that it can be an instantaneous thing. And then there's, for some people, for sure. And it has been an instantaneous thing for me as well. And then there is also the awareness that our sometimes our bodies carry a lot of memory and frequency inside the astral field that has to be accounted for. That's karma. Like, that there is a certain level of, like, we have to kind of reintegrate. We have to integrate all the way down.
But what happens, what can happen is, it's okay. So look at it this way. And I love that we're having this conversation. So when we cross to the other side, like on the other side, there is no fear, right?
Absolutely no fear. Yeah.
And one of the things that happens on this side, as we do start working in a higher vibrational energy, we lose those, maybe some people lose all the habits, but we lose certain habits. We lose certain thought patterns. They just disappear. You're not even aware.
That's true.
Of, right. And so so we could say, okay, maybe it's karmic, we've closed that circle now, whatever, but it happens. And it's not even something that we have to, hey, we could consciously decide, yes, I want to stop, whatever, have biting nails or whatever it is, but you don't have to. That's the thing. It's like, as you move up into this place of higher vibration, or more awareness of gratitude, or more awareness of God, or whatever you want to say, those things it's that lovely phrase, all else falls away.
It's true. I guess it's like flipping a switch. I mean, it really is like, which side of the line do you want to hang out on, right?
Perfect analogy. Which side of the line? Oh, I love that.
Side of the line. Are you up here? Or are you down here? And wherever your will may point you, whatever we're willing will be. So
Yes,
so if we're willing ourselves below the line, we're very much focusing on all of the drama that lives below
yes,
the line, and that's okay. It's all
it is
beautiful. There's
okay.
nothing wrong with that. And if we flip up the switch and we're high in the higher frequency, then it's like that's just what we're willing. That's what we're wanting. If that's what you want, you can
Absolutely.
have it. It's there for you.
And I always say, like, I'm fully aware of the choices, right? And I always say, look, there are some days that I'm just like, I'm just being a pain in the ass. And I'm aware that I'm choosing to feel this way. Like, I'll be the first one to jump in line and say, I'm choosing this today, right? Because I am aware of that. Um, but maybe, and I do, this is interesting because I also feel like, you know, we could probably look at most people and say, okay, this is what I like. For me, there's like one or two things I'm going to be like, hey, this is what I for whatever reason, I'm making it more difficult for myself than it needs to be. One or two issues, and other issues, I'm like, God, life is like, I'm sitting next to the palm tree looking at the beautiful sun, right? But one or two issues, I'm like,
Most of us only have one or two issues. Like most of us have like just a couple things, right? That kind
yeah,
of hold us. And I even think, Polly, I don't know if you agree with me, but it feels like that there's almost like a necessity to have something that holds us here, because
yeah,
otherwise we would just ascend, like, right? Like if you got high enough in your frequency and completely detached from all of the human drama, then why would you even come here? Like there has to be something that carries a bit of weight, a
yeah.
magnet.
It's funny because there was a guru and I just said this on the podcast with Max yesterday, that or a few days ago, that his belief is, or I guess it's not his, as many believe that, yeah, and once you achieve enlightenment, which is such a heavy word, but it's a big word. Can anybody fill those shoes? But once you achieve enlightenment, um, you leave your human body, right?
Yeah, why
And
would
so
you
yeah,
stay? I mean,
right.
unless you become a bodhisattva and come back to serve others, like then.
Right. So there was this one guru who just decided, and he knew he would leave his human body, didn't want to, so he decided to have like a disorder with food. Like he
Okay.
purposely decided to have. Isn't that funny?
I think this place can be very, very painful for
Yeah.
someone of a really high frequency, right?
It
It's
it
it's not a comfortable spot to be when you're stuffed into a human sausage form.
but I so much agree with you. Um, but there's something I believe that's the piece, is like those people that come in, and yeah, it can be so painful, but we come in and we can help others somehow. I mean, it doesn't, and everybody's path is different, but like when I interviewed Ellie Lax of the Gentle Barn, she had a very traumatic early upbringing, and like it was not easy for her. And she made a conscious choice of helping animals, really. And now she hasn't come out and said this, but I swear to God, she will be one of the next spiritual, like, she is an amazingly spiritual person, amazing spiritual teacher. But she had a very painful existence, and now she helps so many people. I mean, animals and people. It's huge, and we come in that way. If those more sensitive people, you have the awareness to reach more people. You have the ability. If I mean, something has to click. You have to cross the line.
Yeah, but sometimes it is understanding the human suffering that gives us the compassion necessary to make a choice to cross the line
Yeah,
and to be in service to others once we do.
yeah.
We
No,
understand where people are at, and there is nothing worse than someone saying to you that your suffering is not real and that it
oh,
doesn't
absolutely.
matter, right? That is denying the truth that it is very painful to be a human being for the
It
vast
can be
majority
very
of us on
painful.
this earth right now, and that's totally okay. Like that
Yeah,
suffering is just part of the
I
experience.
it can be very painful, and it can be
It
very
can,
painful, and it can look like there's no way out. Absolutely.
yeah. And
And
I know, and you know, at some level, that's just vibration. That's just frequency.
yeah,
That's just an experience of what is right now. And we interpret it a certain way. And for whatever reason, we teach ourselves through pain because we're trying to evolve. Like the evolution, we're in a constant state of evolution.
right.
There's never a moment when we're not learning, growing, changing, transforming, getting better and better and better, right? And for some reason, pain seems to be a pretty good impetus for change. We
Yeah.
we go through pain trying to get away from it, or to some extent trying to make peace with it.
Some
And
people
in the
don't.
relaxation around it or in the peace with it or
That,
whatever it
I mean,
is, transform it.
that's the thing is some people don't. Some people, the golden road is right in front of them, and they won't leave the pain behind. There's some part of them. I mean, I'm just thinking about one person. Well, there's a few people I'm thinking of in particular. The golden road is right in front of them, and they will not put the pain down.
Do you think that there may be like they haven't learned what they needed to learn from that pain? It's still teaching them something?
There's some fear or there's some comfort within the pain, right? There's
The
some
familiarity.
comfort,
Yeah.
and
Grows familiar and then they
it
don't know.
feels
Maybe
familiar. It
they're afraid
feels
of moving ahead because they
it,
don't know what's there.
right. It feels safe. It's familiar. It's feeding some part of them that still needs to be fed, right? It's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and that's very very difficult. But it's almost like somebody has, say they're addicted to opioids. Whatever. That's not. This is. I'm using a different reference. But say somebody that has an addiction, the person on the outside, we cannot help them. We can say, hey, there's great counseling, whatever. They have to do it themselves, and that's what's so hard. But I do believe, like, you share a certain vibration, and now your vibration is shifted so it's higher. You will now attract people that are ready to work in that higher vibration,
Yeah.
right? And maybe the people that are kind of stuck and holding on to the pain, hopefully, they have some experience, and even if their heart just opens enough for a
Dude,
nanosecond.
I love the pain. I can't tell you. My clients who are in pain, I am in love with them. My whole soul lights up like a Christmas tree, and I just want nothing more than to go right inside them and give them a hug. Like it's just it's ridiculous. The like I don't know what it is about me, but it's like I can't help how much I want to go inside there and hold that, right? I get it. Like I'm
Yeah,
so in love with that part of human being. I just love that part. I
right.
love it. It's beautiful to me. I think it's absolutely perfect. I don't see any problem with it. Like in fact, I mean, I master it in myself. I explore it. It's part of,
Yeah,
I'm a shadow walker. I go into the dark places. I drop down into the pain. I work with it. I expand myself within it. I'm a root system explorer, right? I'm a psychologist. I've always been a psychologist. I'm a trained psychotherapist. I did psychology in university. My father was a psychologist. My dad was celebrated. He won a global award, a worldwide award. He worked in the rehabilitation of sex offenders and pedophiles.
how interesting.
He worked with the darkest of the dark energy, right? The most pain. And yeah, it's been a part of my life all my life. And so I feel, and from my own intuitive understanding and what I was shown, I had a dream when I was probably in around 2012, probably about 2012, right? And what I was shown was in the dream sequence, I was given the impression of the earth. I was shown how the earth is feeling, and I was shown her waterway. It was like I became the earth, and I became her waterways, and I could feel like how the pollution was clogging her rivers and her streams and the rivulets of water, and then I was shown that the water system and the earth and the air, all of it correlates to our human bodies, right? And that we're one with her, that we are an organism, she is an organism, that our ecosystem and her ecosystem are one thing. And then in the dream, what I was shown is I was just shown the clog of pollution and the density is correlate to our own emotional
Mhm.
astral field, right? All of the human suffering and the pain and the stories and all of it. And I could see the pollution on the planet and the pollution in our emotional bodies. And then I was given this gift, which really is very similar to what you're talking about. I was shown that there will come a day when we simply heal that emotion. We liberate from the astral field, and her body will clear as well. And
Yeah.
in the dream, I remember feeling so grateful that it was so easy. It was like this ease, right? But whether something at some higher frequency, we know how easy it is, but we still have to deal with the fact that this is where most of us are at right now, and this is where our planet is at right now. So we have to come down and have compassion and help people,
Well, it's
help
not
them
that
know
I'm
how easy it is.
compassionate, right? I mean, so my client base is different. I mean, they're definitely well, I can't say that they're not experiencing pain, because yeah, a lot of them are experiencing pain, but there's some part of them is aware of this potential, right? And right, they just some part of, I don't even know how this stuff works. I just know that it works, right? Um,
Mhm.
but I would say, like my circle, so to speak, like the way I live my life, the way I move through the world, the people I have in my life, the people, whatever, are of they, I think, look at life. It's okay. I'll put it this way. When I, so I, when I meet people who, so I just took a class at the gym. And so that person was like saying, was lamenting about how COVID has affected the younger generation, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, we're moving away from that, right? We're on the outside of that, right? So I'm not going to stay stuck there. But so when I come across somebody like that, it's very jarring to me. They're not the people that I normally hang out with. They're not the people that have most of my conversations with. It's jarring. It's not like this
Mm.
flow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know, maybe it's my Gemini rising. I meet all kinds of people in all kinds of places. I like to bridge to everybody. It's really easy for me. I don't find it jarring. In fact, I find it fascinating
Yeah.
because I to find the truth in someone and to find the beauty in someone, no matter what, no matter where. I mean, like seriously, like I just find that I find that to be exquisite. Like I love it, but that's my nature, right? That's my nature. You're a bit of a different. You're a bit of a different nature. You're a beautiful Pisces. You live outside of like you're transcendent. You have this different view. Why would you bother dealing with something that's not your nature? It's not who you're supposed to be.
Right.
You're here to give us a different message, to bring a different vibration, right? Like for you, it
Yeah,
doesn't.
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now that you have this awareness of your ability to have the will in your heart space and for the higher good, how is that affecting you in terms of your manifesting? Are you just allowing whatever's
Oh
for your
no, I don't
good?
know. Because it's funny, it's a paradox. Like one of the things I've been working with the last few cycles of the moon, and because I do work it really intensely and really intentionally, and it works. Um, what I've been asking for the last lunar cycle and this one was a solidification of my will into the divine. Like, so that was literally what I called, and that was literally what I got.
Nice.
So there's me manifesting what I
Yeah,
want. At
absolutely.
this moment, that is what I choose. So it does not discredit what I wanted before. Everything I wanted all the way was getting me
Absolutely.
to here, and everything I want right now will get me to tomorrow. And
Yeah.
all I have to do is have faith and trust myself, and and connect with my own heart and my own universal design and my own what I want deeply, right? And everything I choose to put my will toward that I manifest will teach me what I need to know in order to go to the next place, right? So I don't feel like it's wasted. I'm not. I'm
No.
way beyond the place where I feel selfish or wasteful. But I am trying to figure out how to create from this place. Like that's
Yeah.
I feel like there's a combination
Or
of
what
both.
you're
I feel like
creating,
there's like a, what's that?
right? Like what you're creating. So perhaps
Hmm.
what you want to create now, maybe it has more flow to it versus before it had more like specifics, and now you're like, um, perhaps what you're creating, is for your highest good. So you're just allowing it to come in versus dictating what's coming in. You're just allowing what's for your highest good to come in, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely, 100%. And I also want to learn how to co-create,
Yeah.
because you can't just sit and do nothing. I mean, I could sit and watch Netflix all the time. Like that would be highly entertaining, you know?
Yeah.
But
No, no, no.
I can't just bliss out and go into a la
Yeah.
la land state. Like I actually have to do something and
Yeah.
be disciplined and be focused and apply effort. So,
Yes.
I think there's a I think there's a combination
Yeah.
that's required.
I agree with you.
I'm learning about that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's,
I agree. I mean, I think the co-creation comes in recognizing, it goes back just because of the work we do, recognizing that we are here to serve, right? And
yeah.
so we are co-creating life. We're, attracting those people to come into our life that we're working with. We are, sharing our, energy comes into us and is changed in some way and reflected back out to the world. We're co-creating that way. That's attracting new and interesting things to us. If we have the intention of the highest good, absolutely, that energy comes into us and is reflected out to the world, attracting more and more stuff for us to create, right? And co-create. And it doesn't, like, we can't even say what it is, because we don't know how far it goes, right? We don't know the extension of our creation or our co-creation.
I guess we can just meet the need when it arises, and also pay attention to the signs and pay
Yeah, and
attention to
just
what the
be,
universe is
right?
asking of
I
us.
mean, and
Just
just know that what if we really are doing for the highest good of ourselves and for all involved, just know, I mean, look, you're not going to sit on your butt and not do anything. I mean, and and perhaps even if we did, we would still be, that energy would still be coming into us. We would still be sharing it in some brilliant, not brilliant because we're brilliant. I'm just saying the energy is brilliant, right? We would still be sharing that, and that's still going to have a vibrational effect all around the world, all around the universe. Anyhow, I love this stuff. I love thinking about our ability to choose to be on, as you said, that side of the line, and our ability. And look at it, you've got kids, I've got kids. We, we interact, we raise those kids, right? We can't just sit there and do nothing.
of course not. We have to still function as members of society and
Yeah,
contribute. And I think that if I'm like really being honest with myself, I want to. I
yeah,
want to contribute. I
exactly.
want to work. I like it. It means so
Exactly.
much. It actually brings me so much joy. It's like
Absolutely.
ecstasy. It's ecstasy. So I
Absolutely.
could never
100.
give that up. I could never give
I
that up. Like I will never
I
give up
agree.
work. I will work till I die.
And I'm the same way. I totally agree, because it's part of who we are.
Yes, and why shouldn't we want to contribute and give and honor and serve and be of service like that? If we are, I think at a certain stage, what we really want is to evolve. So we're trying to fix ourselves and trying to
Yeah.
find our alignment and trying to find the magnet and trying
Yeah.
to kind of come into line. And then once we come into line and we flip that switch, well, there is no other reason to be here except for to be of service to others. And so go forth and honor, right? Like go forth and do that. And it's not even like perhaps something comes your way. I mean, astrology showed itself to me when I was really young, 21 years old, but I didn't practice it until I was 41 years old,
Yeah.
right? Or 40. And
Yeah.
then it came back
Yeah.
and it showed
You
itself
have to
again.
live a
And
little.
I listened to the signs. I listened to the
Yeah.
signs. And it was a really difficult thing to transition into professionally because I didn't trust myself, but the universe just kept showing up and saying, here, nope, this is real. Nope, take this road. Here, oh no, go this way. And I did, and now this is my vehicle for service.
Yeah.
Not to say that it won't change. To be honest with you, my sessions lately, they always inevitably get down to this conversation that we're having right now. They're about consciousness. They're not,
Yeah.
right? Like, so, because at some
I,
level, we transcend the birth chart. We
yes.
transcend it. We
I
transcend the
love,
karma. So the conversations are becoming much more about
yes.
higher consciousness,
Yes.
higher self, and attunement and attainment, right? Of
Yes.
that, because that's just my path and that's what I'm learning. And so
Yes.
we disseminate what we're,
Absolutely.
our organization will reorganize whatever's sitting in front of us in order to reflect where, it's all one, it's all
Yeah.
synchronous. So I'm noticing that there's some significant shifts in my practice right now. And also that I can still use astrology as a language and a tool and a lens, and that it's very applicable, and that I can also hold it lightly enough that it doesn't become a lock, it doesn't become a prison. A lot of astrologers, and I have in the last year taken the time to go and get a bunch of astrology readings, because I never did that before. Like, I was just practicing without having ever had a reading. Well, which is okay, right? But I figured maybe I should go and try out some different people.
Yeah.
And what I realized pretty quickly is that astrology, you can get stuck in the analytical mind and in the didactic mind, and you can get kind of sometimes it can become all about giving you information. Okay,
Yeah.
let me just give you a bunch of information, right? And that, it doesn't feel to me that that's what I want to do. That's not how I work. Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think it's interesting because it can be, for the people that are looking for answers as to why anyhow, I'll just say, yes, I agree with you. And I think
it's complicated and subtle. Like, some people really need the information and they really want the information. Like, again, it gets down to, there is nowhere where that's wrong on the path. Like, we're all somewhere different, and all you can do is be in honor of where you're at right now, and
absolutely.
try just to be in better, like, try to be in more integrity. That's it. If we only asked ourselves one question every day: where is my integrity? Where is my alignment? What matters to me? How do I hold myself better? How do I honor my heart more? Like, right? Like, that's all we need to really take responsibility for, is ourself.
And to know that part of you, like, you might not be aware of this, but part of you is at that highest level, right? There's part of you is fully aware of God. Part of you is fully aware of the highest vibrational energy, right? Part of you is there. And I think that that's enough to know part of you is there, and all of you can be there when you choose.
That's true.
Yeah. So anyhow, I think it's really interesting. I love having this conversation because it shows that we really can choose. We really can choose what we want in our life. And yeah, sometimes it's fun to think about, getting the new pair of shoes or whatever it is that you want, right? But I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because it's everything. It's there. We can enjoy this world in so many ways and enjoy humanity in so many ways, right? There's like so many friendships to be found. There's so many, moments of pause that you're like just astounded by what you're seeing or what you're feeling, right? And that's what we are here for, is to experience those gifts.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. And the physical manifestation of life is just as spiritual as the spirit
Absolutely.
manifestation of life, like beauty and matter and food and touch and nature and physical
Absolutely.
tangible things, like right. I take a lot of pride in artistry, art.
Yeah. And just, to be able, I mean, the word craft, but really to be able to craft and design something, right, that you're really proud of, that you're sharing with the world. That's amazing. I mean, we have so many gifts. We really do.
Yes.
So enjoy them, right? We should enjoy them. That's what we're here for.
I guess you're living from a place of joy and gratitude. Living from a place of joy and gratitude. And I suppose as we're going all woo woo on this, flip the switch and live above the line, and really, if you were to put it into very simple terms, it's like be grateful, choose joy.
Yeah, and I guess for me, it's a feeling. It's like,
Yeah.
um, I don't know how to even describe it, but it's an awareness of it, right? It's an awareness. It's an awareness of it. It's an awareness of something greater than us. It's an awareness of. It's an awareness. It's an awareness of the miracles. It's an awareness of the magic. It's an awareness of that brilliance, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
good. I mean, it's an awareness that that place that you and I connect to and share the messages, it's an awareness that everybody can connect to that. It's an awareness that everybody
Oh,
can connect
sure.
to that. Everybody can
That
connect.
everybody is connected to that.
Yeah, but being
That
aware,
part, that connection is what's bringing people to you. It's
yes.
like when the connection knows that this ego needs to talk to this ego so that the connection can be stronger, it's going to send this ego over to this ego, and then they're going to have a conversation. But it's all about the connection that's happening up here,
Yeah.
for
It's
sure. It's like an orchestra. We're the individual players in the orchestra, but there's a conductor that's organizing it, and
yeah.
it's perfectly
So
formed.
get to know the conductor.
Yes,
That's the message.
conductor.
Get to know the conductor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, to for people to reach out to you to learn more about you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
My website, definitely.
Okay.
It's saraeliseastrology.com. It's simple. I don't know if you can put that up
I
on
think
the
I can.
wherever
Well,
you
I can't,
post
but I have helpers that can.
this. saraeliseastrology.com. No
Awesome.
H on Sarah. SARAELISE astrology. ASTROLOGY.com. That's
Okay.
it.
And I believe we are planning on doing another class where we talk about manifesting and intuition.
Well, I would say that it's not really about manifesting, but it's about learning how to sync up with the lunar cycle in order to facilitate your evolution,
Okay.
in order to feel more connected with nature and with the organic unfolding of the goddess, because this is her creation. This world is divine. The lunar cycle is part of God and part of the beauty that we are
Right.
here to be able to experience. So, learning how to tap into that, how to feel it, how to understand it, how to have a relationship with it, and how to undulate within it, for me, has been absolutely instrumental in my own evolutionary unfolding. I use the cycle as though it were a natural part of me now. It's just
It's
second
a
nature.
natural part of you.
It is a natural part of me, exactly. And
Okay.
I find it to be a wonderfully fulfilling practice, and it's my honor to be able to teach it. Um, and then combined with your work, I work in the first month to work through the cycle and to understand what the lunar cycle is and to give a little bit more of the information. And then in the second month, you take people into tapping into their intuitive skills, being able to kind of elevate and understand things at a more intuitive and kinesthetic level, right? Being able to tap into the knowing field. And then when you combine these things, I think it's a wonderful alchemy, because to use your intuition to tap into the lunar cycle gives you sort of permission to become one with all of it. And it kicks you into the feminine so fast. It kicks you into the magical so fast. And it kicks you into this organic relationship with the universe that I find to be extremely beneficial and useful and nourishing. I mean, some of the comments that the one comment that I still remember was the one girl in our first school that we did, the very first one. She said something about how she no longer feels alone. How that practice of being able to sit out with the moon
Oh, right. I know who that
right?
was.
And to talk to it and to link into it. I mean, we're never alone,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
We're never alone. But in the Piscean era that we're coming out of, we were told that God doesn't live here. God lives up there. And we better get up there because that's the only place to be. We don't want to be down here. This place sucks. In fact, this place is sinful. The body, you don't want the body. No. And oh my God, if you're a woman, oh, you don't want a woman. And if you're a little bit witchy, oh my God, well, just get that under wraps because this is the only thing we want. There's only one way to go, and it's up and it's out. And that was the era of Pisces. And we're coming out of that era right now. So we're learning how to bridge back to our intrinsic divinity, our essential divinity, and our bodies, right? And our presence here on earth. Like this is where we want, this is our home. And this is just as magical as up there, like star magic, earth magic, soul magic, human magic. It's all the same. So I find the lunar cycle and the moon school is kind of an ignition of that magic, but in a way that kind of links us into the most tangible and most available celestial cycle that we have present on the earth.
Okay, so more information will be on my website. Are you going to have it on your website also? Like,
Yeah.
On the Moon School. If you want to learn more about Sara, contact Sara at her website. I will have that information. And more information about the Moon School, contact either one of us. I will have it on my website probably, but well, hopefully by the time this video goes up. But Sara, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And it's really fun. It's so fun to work with you because you are so amazing at the way you look at the charts, and really so amazing, like the deep way that you look at the charts and the deep way that you look at the people. I think that that's really amazing. So, okay, I'm going to pause this.